Why? Why make a comic about the Kool-Aid Man? Look, I understand US 1. I understand Nightcat. I even understand NFL Super Pro. But this? It's the friggin' Kool-Aid Man! And yeah, the thing was given out for promotions and not really sold in stores, but that makes even less sense. You've already got commercials that feature the guy prominently. What's the point of licensing it out to Marvel to produce a comic book that no one will read? Get it? No one will read this! It's a comic book about the Kool-Aid Man! The Kool-Aid Man is not cool! He's a public menace, destroying walls and buildings so he can pour his sugary juice out for people. For those who have no idea what the hell I'm talking about, the Kool-Aid Man is, well, just that, the Kool-Aid Man, the mascot of the juice drink Kool-Aid. His primary characteristic is to burst through walls and yell, "Oh yeah!" And thus we come to the conclusion of my series on the depths that Marvel will sink to. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm all for making money. I don't have a problem with Marvel getting licenses or singers or even food mascots if it makes the money. But at the same time, I really have to consider the fact that Marvel wasted a print run on a comic that no one would be interested in, no one would read, and would basically be considered a joke by adults and kids. That's why I say depths they'll sink to. Why can't they make good comics and make money at the same time? They wasted time and effort producing a comic like this when I'm sure there was some other miniseries that could have been made about a secondary character who never got the spotlight. That's my problem with it. It's just wasteful. Oh, and then it sucks. But don't take my word for it. Well, actually, you don't have to. It's a comic about the Kool-Aid Man. There's no way this concept could be good. So let's just dig in.
Welcome to the top of the fourth wall, where bad comics burn. Linkar's gonna teach you all a lesson you won't learn. You're not the smartest. Lovhaug, you're not an artist. Anyone who's had a bad comic published, it can be your turn. Linkara, he's the man, but where's the birdie hat? Linkara, he has a magic gun. Where do you purchase that? Linkara, coins, robots, Amazons and trucks. Linkara, this comic sucks. Linkara.
Okay, I tend to be negative about covers, so I'll say a positive first. This cover is not boring. It makes no sense, but it certainly isn't boring. I mean, look at this. The Kool-Aid Man is leaping through the hull of a spaceship, which appears to be as strong as saltine crackers, and yelling his catchphrase, despite the fact that he's halfway in space and there's no air. Oh, but let's not forget the fact that he's bursting through the wall, but the pieces aren't immediately being sucked back into space thanks to decompression. Oh, and what's with the spacesuits on the kids? It's like the cover to Sci-Fi. Slap a fishbowl on their heads and bam, no suffocation. I mean, they didn't even change out of their street clothes. Oh, and again, like Sci-Fi, these kids never wear these helmets in the comic. Then there are these freaks of evolution. Yellow entities that resemble the angry sun from Mario with huge green tongues. As he battles the thirsties in outer space and on the baseball field. The thirsties. The Kool-Aid Man is fighting the thirsties. Our story begins on a hot summer day at a snack bar where we meet a group of annoying children. Oh no! Sam's snack bar is closed! And the water fountain isn't working! Oh no! If only there had been some adults around who would normally supply water bottles at an event like this. You know, like what happens in real life! Inside the snack bar, the thirsties discuss their sinister plans. We thirsties have done it again. Thanks to us, the small-town sluggers feel totally rotten. Yes, our plans to temporarily inconvenience some grade schoolers are going swimmingly. However, it's talking pitchers to the rescue as the Kool-Aid Man bursts through the wall. I knew you low-down thirsties were behind this. You enjoy spoiling kids' fun. That's why I'm here to save the day. Oh yeah! Well, thanks for making the shop owner there feel even worse, Kool-Aid Man. Now he's gonna patch that hole up. Head for the hills! It's Kool-Aid Man! Now Thirsty is safe with him around. Guys, his primary method of attack is a pitcher of juice. I think you can take him. However, the Thirsties are incapable of outrunning the rotund glass man and are captured. The Kool-Aid Man even ties them up with sausage links. Wow. Anyway, the snack shop reopens and the kids spot the Kool-Aid Man. And of course, they're not the least bit put off by the giant mascot who talks to them. Kool-Aid Man, I'd like you to meet my friends. Sigmund Smart. I'm the brains on this team. Oh, trust me, there were no brains involved in this crap. Cynthia Crystal. I can't wait to tell my friends that I met the Kool-Aid Man in person. I'll become even more of a social outcast. Mickey Richardson. I bet you're as strong as the Hulk. Yes, Marvel, we get it. You landed the license to this comic. It's not something to be proud of. And Gloria Green. Far out! I'm totally high right now. This doesn't seem weird to me at all. It's been great meeting all of you, but I've got to get back to my secret headquarters to continue my never-ending battle against the insatiable Thirsties. He has his own secret headquarters. The Kool-Aid Man has his own Kool-Aid cave. The Kool-Aid Man has his own secret headquarters! The Kool-Aid Man invites the kids along to join him in his new Kool copter, and they gladly accept as long as they're home for dinner on time. Wow, this situation doesn't have horrible connotations or anything. So it turns out that this quote-unquote secret headquarters is shaped like a giant pitcher and has a sign out front that says, Number 1 Kool-Aid Plaza. You know, I've heard of hiding in plain sight, but I don't think this is what they were thinking. Fasten your seatbelts, we're coming in for a landing. We're going right through that ceiling! Oh yeah! So, yeah, the Kool-Aid Man has a high-tech facility, but what's it all for? I invented all this stuff to help me keep an eye on those pesky Thirsties. They're always trying to spoil everyone's fun, and it's my job to stop them. So the Thirsties are just an entire society of assholes? What do they get out of this? An alarm comes in, alerting the Kool-Aid Man that the Thirsties are at it again. Those kids worked up a big thirst playing volleyball, and now the Thirsties want to spoil their fun. So, wait a second. The computer display shows the Thirsties attacking. Does this mean that the Kool-Aid Man has cameras set up all throughout the world just watching people? Big Brother isn't watching us. The Kool-Aid Man is. The Kool-Aid Man sees you when you're sleeping. The Kool-Aid Man sees you in your nightmares. So the Kool-Aid Man and the Kid Brigade arrive. The Kool-Aid Man suddenly bursts through a sign on the beach. Dude, that sign was not in your way! You just jumped through it for no other reason than to be a jerk! And yeah, I know the sign has stupid crap like no fun and was probably set up by the Thirsties, but I'm sure you really just did it to maintain your trademark. So get this, the Kool-Aid Man grabs one of the Thirsties and uses him like a bowling ball to knock down the others, who are conveniently running in a formation like bowling pins. By the way, where did he put down his drink? He's always carrying the thing around like it's his baby, and yet it vanishes when he tosses the guy. Then again, I am once again asking for logic in a comic about the Kool-Aid Man. You know, what does the Kool-Aid Man do with the Thirsties after he beats them up? Does he hand them over to the police? Yeah, I guess they've broken a few laws, but then again, why is anyone supporting the Kool-Aid Man's vigilante activities so readily? With their victory over the Thirsties, they return to Kool-Aid Cave, and annoying kid number 3 invites the Kool-Aid Man to their softball game the next day. At that game, the coach gives a boring speech which literally makes the kids fall asleep before the game, after which annoying kid number 3 carries off annoying kid number 4. Aren't we both getting carried away here? There isn't enough wah-wah music in the world to make up for that pun. Annoying kid number 2 wonders if the Kool-Aid Man will show up at the game, but the young Mr. Brain responds like so. Cynthia, we mustn't be so selfish. We can't expect the Kool-Aid Man to turn his back on the constant threat of the Thirsties just so he can be at our little softball game. Does the Kool-Aid Man even sleep? He says earlier that watching out for the Thirsties is a 24-hour job. And who built his headquarters? And why doesn't he have assistants for this?
It just raises too many questions.
In the crowd, two adults are cheering for their respective home teams, prompting one fellow in a golf hat to comment, "With home teams like this, who needs the World Series?" I agree. It's certainly more interesting than the depiction of the World Series from last week's comic. Naturally, the Thirsties are there disguised as vendors. One of them even runs onto the field and grabs the second base plate and runs off with it. What truly evil creatures, stealing that easily replaceable plate! These creatures are such unbelievable dicks that apparently their very presence wilts flowers. Wow. Next, they run out onto the field as one of our protagonists is sliding towards home base. Yes, apparently my analysis of them looking like suns is completely accurate, since they shine their own bodies on the umpire and the players so they can't see.
She blinded me with science!
What sort of messed up evolutionary chain would create these things? Are they aliens? Where are their internal organs? How can they just radiate like that? Why don't they wear pants? But you know what? Putting all of those perfectly legitimate questions aside, there's one really important question from the scene that demands an answer. Where is security? Or the cops? The Thirsties have attacked this field multiple times now, and there hasn't even been a token show of resistance. So anyway, since the umpire didn't see the kid sliding, they have to redo his turn at bat, making people more miserable. Our plan is working perfectly. No one is having any fun, except us. And we still have 1,298 ways left to spoil their game. Really, they sat down and made a list of all the various ways they could be jackasses at a softball game. This must be their culture's religion or something. So with everyone growing increasingly agitated, they finally decide screw it and call for the Kool-Aid Man, who instantly arrives and smashes through a sign. I can't wait for the Kool-Aid Man to be at the next PTA meeting where we learn that they have to cut funding to art and music so the school can afford a new score sign. So the Kool-Aid Man just tosses the Thirsties into a conveniently placed lake or something. Yeah, I don't know where the large body of water came from either. What gets me is that somehow these dingbats didn't think to do this without the aid of their savior, the pitcher of juice. You know, if the Thirsties are like miniature sentient suns, isn't dumping them into water killing them? I mean, their bodies are actually sizzling the water as they swim away, and they don't look happy, so it seems pretty evident to me that the Kool-Aid Man is a homicidal maniac. Oh, but we're not done yet. See, there are two stories in this epic tale, and here comes the one from the cover. Thirst in Space! So we meet a different group of annoying kids at an amusement park. Wow, just imagine being at an amusement park right now instead of this. The kids insult the designated nerd among them. What about you, Mr. Know-It-All? Are you having fun? Scott, my name is Warren Wilkinson, not Mr. Know-It-All, and I will admit that these illogical rides are amusing. What exactly is illogical about amusement park rides?
That, sir, is illogical.
Anyway, to restore my audience's sense and well-being, here's a giant thirsty monster. Its diabolical plan is to ruin everyone's fun by making them feel hot. Dear God, you're mad! It's not like they're in an amusement park where there's ice cream and water and soda readily available at concession stands! Naturally, there's a ship in orbit that, okay, now they're flat out stealing the angry sun from Super Mario Brothers. They're not even trying anymore. Okay, somehow this group of kids is able to summon the Kool-Aid Man, who bursts through the wall of a funhouse. That makes no sense! I know that's kind of a redundant statement when it comes to this comic, but they're outside of the funhouse! That means he must have been inside of it when they called out to him! What was he doing there? Isn't he always searching for the Thirsties? So the Kool-Aid Man taunts the giant Thirsty, since that's such a wise tactic, and actually tries to punch it. Damn, somehow despite the Kool-Aid Man lacking any such biology, he's got serious gonads. However, the punch passes right through the giant. The Kool-Aid Man reasons that that's because the giant's not real, that it's a hologram. Yes, you heard me, a hologram, which the comic points out is a three-dimensional image made of light. Which makes so much sense, considering there's no projector, plus he was clearly menacing everyone earlier by blowing hot air on them and all. I didn't know light could do that. Oh, but that's nothing compared to the brilliant plan the Kool-Aid Man utilizes. Yeah, he takes a large mirror and somehow aims it in such a way as to reflect the light back into space, despite the fact that he's clearly aiming the mirror down at the ground. After the Kool-Aid Man lands, everyone's more than happy to thank him for saving them from the non-threatening hologram. Why, one girl even asks to kiss him. His reaction? Oh yeah! You know, I wonder if those ice cubes in his head ever melt. I admire the way you used logic to defeat the hologram of that giant thirst monster. Logic? There's more logic in a frickin' Sudoku puzzle than there was in that dumbass plan! Oh, and with the laziest of segues, we find ourselves next to Professor Otis Klein and his crazy rocket. Why he has it in an amusement park is anyone's guess, considering he says this ship is apparently designed to go into outer space. The only problem? He can't figure out how to make it start. Yes, he made the damn thing, but he has no clue how to turn it on. I can't make this stuff up, people! So the Kool-Aid Man trips and accidentally starts up the rocket, launching them into space. Yeah, at this point, my brain has just become a puddle of mush that's accepting this nonsense. They pass an airplane where someone on it says that they just saw a UFO. The comic decides to inform us that a UFO stands for Unidentified Flying Object. And, you know, I do think they did need that, since the only people who would enjoy this comic have a brain about the size of a sea monkey. So the kids, since they've seen enough science fiction movies, I'm serious here, say they know how to fly any spaceship. Dear Lord, this makes the premise of Armageddon actually seem plausible by comparison. So they see the Thirsty spaceship, which immediately fires upon them. If the Thirsty spaceship has advanced laser weapons on it, why in the hell are they screwing around with holograms when they can just lay waste to cities? That would ruin people's fun! The Kool-Aid Man dons a jetpack and flies out to confront the Thirsties, crashing through the wall, of course. I'm curious how the Kool-Aid that makes up the Kool-Aid Man doesn't instantly freeze in the vacuum of space, but hey, we're almost done. So the Kool-Aid Man just stands there while the Thirsties use their thirst ray on him, but the Kool-Aid Man is immune because he's, red. So the thirst ray overloads and blows up in their faces, causing them to instantly surrender. Yes, these guys surrendered because the Kool-Aid Man is just standing there. You know, I think this is a sign we should stop making fun of the French as cowards. For one thing, French resistance and all that during World War II, kicking ass like nobody's business. And secondly, the Thirsties prove there's a considerably more wussy civilization out there. So, not even bothering to take the Thirsties into custody or anything, the Kool-Aid Man just leaves and manages to get back to Earth by, being red. And so our comic ends with everyone sharing a laugh at the poor professor who still doesn't know how his spaceship that he built himself is supposed to work. This comic sucks in every conceivable way. You can't say it was meant for kids. Kids are smarter than this crap. The villains are lousy, the characters are non-entities, and again, it's a comic about the friggin' Kool-Aid Man! And not only does this comic mock science on almost every page, but it makes a mockery of God, too, since there's no way in hell he'd ever create beings like the Thirsties and the Kool-Aid Man!
Kids play harder than anybody else, and there's nothing like a kid's big thirst.
Oh yeah, I'm on my way.
You can feel it coming on, and you've got to have some.
Here I come to save the day.
Got to have some now. Kool-Aid to the rescue. The one for a kid's big thirst.
So I see, refreshing and bright, yeah.
Got to have some more. All right. It's Kool-Aid to the rescue. The one for kids.
Kool-Aid brand soft drink mix.
For a kid's big thirst.